What's up, everybody? Mike here, and I got some very exciting updates when it comes to Dragon Age, the Veilguard. I know the name is not, everybody's cup of tea, it's like that, and some of the visuals, people are complaining about the game, but honestly, I like the visuals. I like how the gameplay is looking so far. That 20-minute of gameplay reveal was just fantastic. Now, I did talk to a few friends in my community about what they thought as well about it, and yeah, they were kind of confused and a little mad that they sort of like dropped some bit of spoilers and whatnot. So when it came towards the end and how I guess Varric was in there and they felt like they should have saved Varric, but I'm thinking like, well, they already showed him in the reveal trailer of the cinematic, so it's like, yeah, I expect him to be in the gameplay as well too. But a lot of details here. Hopefully this, eases some of your concerns, guys, as I go over them. So let's start off with the graphics. So this seems to be a strong, concern point for a lot of people. Visuals are not my main thing. That's not what really sells me on a game, honestly, personally. Gameplay is number one for me, and if it has a story, then the story second, which includes like how it's written, characters, character development, things like that. Gameplay's, sorry, not gameplay, but visuals, like when it comes to graphics, presentation, is usually like the third or so thing on my list that I focus on. But I know a lot of people out there, you guys love your graphics more so. Some of y'all focus on graphics more than anything. This latest iteration of Frostbite Engine that the game is running on, at least from one source reported by IGN, is that the Veilguard is going to target 60 FPS. Now, it's also going to feature performance and quality modes on console to ensure players can choose the visual fidelity they prefer. And whatever the fidelity ends up being, I'm sure we'll find out more as it leads up to launch and things like that. It's evident that Veilguard is heavily stylized. And honestly, from what I noticed is I own all the previous Dragon Age games. Like, to me, Dragon Age, when it comes to its art style, visuals, and, graphics, it's always been sort of like this unique, weird, but weird in a cool way type of thing, right? Like, it's always kind of been its own weird thing in terms of art style. So, like, this still kind of fits within that realm of, like, the art style and dark fantasy it's going for, at least to me. So maybe there was people that were like hoping to return to the blood spatter style of the original. Maybe. I mean, I wouldn't be against that, I'm down. But I can see why maybe this rubs some people the wrong way. Ultimately, though, what's going to end up mattering is the polish of the game, the cohesiveness of the game, the sense of identity that the game's supposed to be having, giving us as gamers to what they're trying to go for. And as they did note, the name change of calling it Veilguard and, replacing the older name of Dreadwolf, seems like that, I guess, at least in their point of view, is the logical evolution of Inquisition, because they want to focus on you, the main character, and your group of heroes that help you out, your allies, rather than the villain, because the Dreadwolf name refers to the villain or main villain of this game. So we have Varric back. He's recapping the events of previous games, explaining the motivations of Solus, aka the Dreadwolf. And for those, some of you may remember Solus from Inquisition. And sorry, spoilers there a bit, but yeah, Solus is apparently the bad guy. Now, the Veilguard is a standalone story, with Rook joining the Warden, Hawk, and Inquisition in the ranks of Dragon Age protagonists. The game director even confirms that it seems that Veilguard is a mission-based game. Everything is hand-touched, handcrafted, very highly curated. And the game director believes that's how we get the best narrative experience, the best moment-to-moment experience. However, along the way, these levels that we go to do open up. Some of them have more exploration than others. Alternate branching paths, mysteries, secrets, optional content you're going to find and solve. So it does open up, but it is mission-based, highly curated game. And then even when it comes to details on side quests and optional content, the game director notes that some of them are highly curated, especially when it involves the motivations and the experiences of the companions. You're really along on this journey with them. Others, you're investigating the missing family, and the entirety of this bog is open up to you. You're searching for clues, finding a way to solve their disappearance. So really, it's not a one-size-fits-all solution. But I do want to emphasize that handcrafted and curated is our approach. So that's what the game director is talking about when it comes to side quests and optional content. And then it looks like Dragon Age Veilguard is more of an action game than ever. As noted, I was checking this out while watching a 20-minute, gameplay reveal. You can check out my reaction video on my channel as well to that. But yeah, I was noticing how very much more action-oriented it is compared to previous titles. which is not a bad thing by any means. I was just still wondering if they were still going to have the, pause mid-combat to sort of strategist bit. It's still kind of there in a way. And so when it comes to the Veilguard's battle system, which apparently reduces the party size from 4 to 3, I'm not a big fan of that. I wish they would stick with the 4 party members, honestly. And in so doing, becomes more of an action forward than ever, and features what Bush, if I'm saying it right, I think it's the game director's last name, how you say it right. That's why I just been saying game director, but calls sophisticated animation, canceling, and branching, with the design centered around dodging, countering, and using risk-reward charge attacks designed to break enemy armor layers. Much of its strategy lives in its ability wheel, which stops the action either by tapping or holding the shoulder button and allows you to issue orders as you see fit. In particular, companions can be kitted out as support units and healers, which the game director cites as a big player request after Inquisition. The game director continues on to say, the combat system is an interesting challenge going into the 4th iteration of this game because, as you know, every Dragon Age has reinvented combat to some degree. Of course, pause and play strategy is always the backbone of it, but what that means is that, in addition to fans of all 3 prior games, and welcoming an entirely new generation of fans, we've got a pretty diverse player base to accommodate to. Weaknesses and resistances will apparently play a major role in combat, with abilities being designed to exploit them accordingly. One character might be able to plant a weakening debuff on an enemy, and another enemy might be able to detonate them. Likewise, the bonds that Rook forges with companions like Nev, a detective, and Harding, who returns from Inquisition as a full partner, determine how party members grow and what abilities become available. These bonds are in turn determined by the choices you make using Bioware's famous dialogue wheel, which returns for the Veilguard. Now, while this game is definitely going to get some, comparisons and some criticism because of Baldur's Gate 3 that came out last year and was amazing overall, let's not forget that Dragon Age, when it comes to the game itself and franchise, practically invented the RPG romance as we know it today. Now, will it be as, explicit as Baldur's Gate 3 when it comes to, the romancing and, sex scenes? I don't know. That depends on how far BioWare really wants to go. Apparently, other previous games, Mass Effect and, other Dragon Age games, previous ones, yeah, they've had some spicy romantic stuff going on and sex stuff going on, but, could this be the game where it's yeah, we're going to, match Baldur's Gate 3 in terms of that? I don't know. But each of the companions that you journey with has really complex backstories, problems of their own, deep motivations, and these play out through some really well fleshed out character arcs. Missions that are unique to them, but ultimately tie into the larger story. And along the way, we'll make consequential decisions for each of them. Sometimes affecting who they are, sometimes heart-wrenching, I've cried more than once, and sometimes pretty joyous. I'll be getting back to romances here and details on that in a bit, but something to note here is that Dragon Age, the Veilguard's character creator finally fixes Bioware's notorious terrible hair. I didn't even know this was a thing, really. Then again, I've not fully beaten the previous Dragon Age games, but apparently, there's a hair problem, I guess, that's been going on in previous games, or at least some of them, where players have typically struggled with a limited number of hairstyles, most of which looks, well, bad. The hair not quite looking like hair, and just looks like a tangled mass atop a head. And others have complained that looks fake, horrid, and a disaster. So apparently, they want to leave you guys with news of Dragon Age, the Veilguard will bring with it a large number of hair options featuring the latest in physics-based follicles. Also, something that's very cool and I find very inclusive is they are including options for they/them pronouns and the ability to play as a non-binary character. Aside from hairstyles, the director confirms that Character Creator features a host of options, including all of the sliders you could possibly want. Include a body morpher option that allows players to choose different body sizes if they wish. And all options are non-gendered. On top of that, the Veilguard allows players to choose between human, elf, dwarf, and Qunari characters with additional options for lineage, class, faction, and playstyle. Now on to the romance details. So, the director also confirmed that, yes, you will be able to romance any companion you want, basically like in Baldur's Gate 3, regardless of your character's gender or race. It's a bit of a surprise for the fans, I'm cool with it. Heck, why not? Especially when you take into account that in previous games, you were not able to romance all the characters with just one character, or at least had the option to. You know, you were regulated to having to play a certain type of race, gender, you know, I think even a class as well. And that would also be reflected in, you know, how the NPC characters had different sexual orientations. Some were pansexual, others are heterosexual, you know, things like that. A good example of this is like in Inquisition, Solus could only be romanced by female elves. The game director insists that they are all specifically pansexual, and that might come through in what you learn about their backstories. For instance, we saw Harding, right? So you might be playing a straight male character, flirting with her, but you choose not to pursue a romance. She might get together with Tosh, so your perception, your identity has no bearing on their identities, and that comes through really strongly. When asked if that means it won't take long for romance to become an option in the Veilguard, the game director confirms that you'll be able to start flirting with everyone pretty early as you recruit all 7 companions throughout the first act. But the director clarifies it's not until the later parts of the game where you really commit to romance and it gets pretty spicy. And as we know from Mass Effect and previous Dragon Age, games, those games have some fairly explicit sex scenes. So, but once again, will Dragon Age the Veilguard go the route of being like Baldur's Gate 3 in terms of, very explicit? I don't know. We'll still have to wait and see. Director does confirm they do have nudity. It's an N-rated game, so we'll have to wait and see if they, when the full game comes out, or if they care to show it off in some way like Larian Studios did. But don't worry, guys. For those of you that are against this, the director's confirmed, no bear sex. You want that bear sex, you got to go to Baldur's Gate 3, baby. And then lastly, I want to talk about how BioWare details how previous choices will be imported into Dragon Age the Veilguard. Now, this is still kind of a bit confusing from when I originally read it, and I'll let you guys know about it, and you can maybe help clarify it a bit in the comments below if you like. So, yes, you'll be able to carry over your decisions from previous Dragon Age games into the Veilguard. It'll just work a little differently this time, because they're not using the Dragon Keep system, I believe, that has been used for the previous games. But the ability to import your choices is fully integrated into the character creator this time around. So the game director confirms this, and that you'll be able to customize your Inquisitor if you want to remake your protagonist from Dragon Age Inquisition. So, quoting the game director, she says, "What's not lost on us is that it's been 10 years since existing players have played. They might not remember what they did in previous games. They might need that refresher, and we don't want new players to feel like they're missing out on those decisions. So, in the character creator, I like to call it last time on Dragon Age. But you can go into your past adventures, and it actually, through tarot cards, tells you what the context was and what decision you want to make." So, based on this, it sounds like BioWare is maybe abandoning Dragon Age Keep, which will allow you to export your world state from previous Dragon Age games into Inquisition through your save files. And the game director confirmed that Veilguard would not read save files from Dragon Age Origins and Dragon Age 2. And players won't have to link their accounts for this option here when it comes to using this, basically. You'll be able to play the game fully offline. And yes, it's a single-player game and has no microtransactions. So there you have it, guys. Those are the latest exciting new details when it comes to Dragon Age, the Veilguard. Like I said, some weird stuff with how they're trying to do the, I guess previous save data, or like incorporating your character from Inquisition, but then they don't allow you to incorporate what you've done in the first 2 games. So that's a little weird. I don't know why they just maybe couldn't keep, using a Dragon Age Keep way of doing it. I don't know. Maybe there's some type of complication, with coding or something like that, with the games like that. So it is what it is at this point. I know this is going to upset some of you fans out there, and others may not care as much. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. I'm not going to worry about that much personally. I'm here to play the game itself. I am a bit, disappointed about the 3-party system instead of 4-party, which I prefer the 4-party over the 3-party. So, and I understand it's like a 3-class system, but it's got like different subclasses and specific specializations, things like that you can do for each one, which opens up even more possibilities and variety of builds. So we'll have to wait and see, and hopefully it works out. Basically, now it's like I'm going to go into mindset, well, I'm going to have a mage, a rogue, and, a warrior type, basically. So I'm essentially going to have that mage, I guess, be my healer support caster. I can't even have an offensive caster in this one, which really kind of sucks. So we'll see how it goes. I mean, when it comes to other ways and options to heal the party and things like that, because there definitely will be moments where I'm guessing you won't have a healer type character in your party, like a mage healer. You're going to have to use potions or some other ways to keep your party healed up life wise. So for story elements, certain characters might be in and out, or you have to choose a certain character for a certain side quest, things like that. So we'll wait and see how it goes. I'm still not sure what class I'll start with. I'm definitely not gonna start with mage though. I'll probably either be like warrior or rogue. One of those two. I'm still debating on, and I do plan to play the previous 3 games leading up to this. Try to get them started soon, because yeah, I really want to get into them, and that way I have a good general overall understanding of how things have happened before, the world building, the characters, all that great stuff. So let me know your thoughts on this, guys. Comment below what you think, and if you enjoyed this video, appreciate a thumbs up, subscribe for new, and hit the bell for notifications. I still got a lot more stuff coming. Stay tuned for that. My name's Mike. Thanks for watching.